Yeah, I've seen that. A lot of them have their way out. Teachers up.
Yep. Okay, welcome everyone to the ordinary meeting of Greater Hume Shire Council on Wednesday, the 20th of November. We have two speakers from the public gallery tonight, so I'd like to invite Philip Hartley to speak, please.
Thank you very much. Will I pop up here?
Oh, you can, yep, wherever you feel comfortable. Yep.
Trying to be perfect in the car. I'm speaking today in relation to the works, the upgrade works in Job Upgrade. And as I said, there was a business item to allocate some of the funds, $50,000 of the funds for those works to another project. I'm not against relocation or anything like that. It's just an opportunity for me to pop up and have a chat about Job Upgrade and the works that they mean. Not really being whether that relocation I've done is small amount of $50,000 would impact when those works would happen. But also I understand there is a vote on Job Upgrade that gets spoken there as well. So I'm a bit nervous and I'll be a bit emotional. So my wife's written this. My name's Lisa. I live 263 Job Upgrade with my husband and two children. We live opposite the wooden fence and have 300 metres of road frontage to Job Upgrade. Our local area has developed so much over the past several years. We now have an estate just over the hill, street lights and garbage collection service runs down our road. All things we didn't have when we first moved to the area. Along with this increased development has come increased traffic, poorer road condition and terrible dust. For a long time we looked forward to the time the Job road would be considered. We have waited patiently and we have for this project to come to fruition. This has now become a critical issue for our family. 12 months ago, one of our daughters was diagnosed with a rare metabolic condition. Like all of these types of conditions, it has a long and difficult to pronounce name. She has like that cancer. What it means for her is that her liver does not produce a particular protein. The problem that protein is travel to the lungs to protect the lungs against damage caused by air pollution such as smoke, pollen, dust, and respiratory illnesses. The body produces such a low amount of this protein that the condition is categorised as extremely severe. There is no cure for this condition. There's also no treatment for this condition in Australia. So as with all conditions that have both no cure and no treatment, specialists advise lifestyle changes that aim to slow the progression and damage to the lungs. My daughter's case, the advice is don't smoke cigarettes. She's 11. Don't smoke cigarettes, but reduce exposure to air pollution such as smoke, pollens, dust, and as far as possible avoid respiratory illness. So don't change things to come anymore. So we have diligently implemented lifestyle changes over the past 12 months. We had a wood fire as our primary form of heating. We've not used that wood fire since her diagnosis. Anyone here know how much dust is generated from wood fires? And so we've sourced alternative. We used to enjoy getting out in our paddocks and lighting fires, toast marshmallows and socialise. We've not done this since our daughter was diagnosed. But by far the biggest change, and the one that is the hardest, that I've had the hardest time accepting, is that our daughter can't really go outside through the dry months of the year due to the amount of dust that covers our entire property every time a vehicle drives through the road. The one lifestyle change that has the biggest impact on her quality of life. It's heartbreaking to have to assess and decide whether to back out is safe for her at any given time. We're now facing a decision whereby if the road is not sealed, we will need to sell our property and move into town. It's a decision that will be devastating to our family. Phil and I are very private people. Very few people know about our daughter's condition, and that's the way we prefer it. I cannot begin to describe how absolutely heartbroken I am to have to feel the need to disclose such private information in public forum. It's the road. We've already voted on and agreed that we don't. Already approved and already budgeted for. I'm devastated by the need to breach my daughter's privacy to beg for this. All because 3 residents wrote about trees. I'm devastated this project has now been held up because of these objections. And I wonder who would object to about permanent lung damage to my daughter sustains every day she remains in an environment like this. How long do we have to hold out as a family before we move our family home and children, the only family home and children we've ever known? Can we ever trust this project will be completed? So here we are begging you to take immediate action to seal this road. Begging you to put us first. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Is there any questions for Philip? Sorry, Philip. Any questions?
I've just got a couple. Just out of interest, how far off the road is your property, your house?
50 metres, 30 metres. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the other question is, just since the recent new estates going up, has that increased traffic on your road considerably?
And a few extra houses around the end of the area. That's what I'm saying. That's very good.
Thank you.
Other questions for Philip? No? Thank you, Philip. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I'd now like to call on Victoria to come up and speak, please. You can stand wherever you feel comfortable.
Hi, I'm Victoria Larkin. My husband and I live on the corner of Sydney Road and Jobart Road and have been there for nearly 30 years. For 30 years, we've been watching this road deteriorate, get worse and worse, and begging for it to be graded, begging for it to have something done to it for 30 years. At 30 years, we're still begging. Now we're begging for the road to be asphalted and it's being held up. We were promised years ago, it gets held up, gets pushed back because it's not a priority. It actually is a priority. It's a very unsafe road. We have damage to our car regularly. We have accidents happen regularly. We have to go and fish people off the side of our corner, around the drainages, around the roads. All sorts of things go on. It's just not a safe road. It's substandard. I don't know anywhere else that has this poor quality road, and it needs to be improved. It needs to have work done on it. The reallocation of money to some other project, I'm sick of hearing it. For 30 years, we get reallocated all the time to other projects in the area. When is it going to stop, and when is our road going to be fixed to a standard that we deserve? We have a 1.8 kilometre dirt track, you've probably all seen, from an asphalted area from one end to the other. What's the go with the gap in between? When we have torrential rain, the road's flooded, it gets washed out, we can't traverse it. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's gone on for long enough and it needs to be upgraded to a proper standard that's acceptable and that is safe for everybody to use. I implore you to do something about our road, please. I'm sick of begging for 30 years. That's all I've got to say about.
Thank you, Victoria. Has anyone got any questions for Victoria? Thank you.
So no comment.
I'd like to open the meeting. Can we please have the prayer, councillors?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings. We ask for your strength and guidance throughout this meeting and thereafter as we look to serve the residents of this shire. We ask for clear thinking and sincere hearts as we approach the business matters we will be discussing shortly. We ask for your blessings upon this meeting, each participant, and the work and people they represent. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Linda. Lisbon, sorry, Councillor Linda. Acknowledgement to country. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri people and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. We have an apology from Councillor Shield. Can I please have a mover and seconder? Councillor Liston, Councillor Linda, thank you. Confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move those minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Seconder?
Second, we'll also include both the 9th and the 22nd, the two lots of meetings. You okay?
Yep.
Thank you, thank you. Councillor Hooper, you're seconding. Happy with that? Action report from the minute. Oh, sorry, all those in favour? Thank you. Councillor Hicks, you're on the step.
Yep, absolutely.
Action report from the minutes. Please quote the page number. Do you have any? No? No one? And then disclosure of interest, please.
I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary interest in item 4 on page 92.
Thank you. No others? No? Reports from officers. So we've actually got the audit team with us, live streaming with us today. So away you go. Thank you. Can you hear me, Louise? Can you hear us? Your microphone goes.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Sorry, technical issues.
Yes, and I think yes, and Nero is also there. She has joined. Also, she's having some technical issues as well. So she has requested just for a couple of minutes, if you don't mind. She's just having some technical problems in connecting her Zoom. I hope everybody is doing well. I'll just ask her. She's messaging that she's trying her best to join as soon as possible. Her computer has got stuck.
Is it happens to other people?
Should I, Louise, should I share my screen to sort of get things going?
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay. Yes, I'm sharing my screen now. Okay. I can see it's there on the screens. Can you see the screen, right? Okay. I believe she should be here soon. Okay. There she is, nearest there.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Nero.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Apologies, I had some tech issues and couldn't join in. I'll probably get started. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and councillors, thank you for the invitation to present my report on the conduct of Greater Hume Shire Council for the year ended 30th June 2024. I'm Niru Mani from the Audit Office, and my office has had the privilege of being the external auditor for Greater Hume, and I'm honored to speak to the report on the conduct today. We've completed the audit of the general purpose and special purpose financial statements and the relevant special schedules. I'm pleased to report to you that we issued a clean audit opinion on your council's financial statements for 23-24. Which means the financial statements contain no material misstatements and are present fairly. As a part of the audit process, Council's Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee have reviewed the financial statements and result of the audit and have recommended these to the Council. In previous years, our independent audit report on Council's general purpose financial statements was qualified due to non-recognition of rural firefighting equipment vested to the Council from Rural Fire Service. The previous qualification was a limitation of scope, as we had no reliable information upon which we could conclude as to the potential impact of the non-recognition on Council's financial statements. This year, the Audit Office obtained a listing of vested assets from the Rural Fire Service. This has helped identify the nature, age, and carrying value of these assets. We thank the Council for confirming the information. While it remains our view that we can't hear it. While it remains our view that councils control vested firefighting assets,
We're trying to work out what to do. Maybe we should come back to it if we can get it rectified. Do you think, or maybe not? I'll give you a chance.
Maybe we defer to December.
Yeah.
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 To defer that report of the auditor until the December meeting. It's very hard to.
There's just an echo from YouTube, so that's the problem we've got. So
we need a visual incentive to do so. We need to be in the That's a motion. All in favour? Thanks for that. So just
Sonia, what we're doing is we just moved and seconded to defer to December. Well, that's close really because they're presenting the financial statements. Just get Louise is just letting the auditors know, and Sonia was just getting her screen up to share so we can see the minutes or see the reports. I think, are we good to carry on? Mm-hmm. Right.
Thank you.
Go with the next slide.
So item 2 is the interim 23-24 quarterly, 24-25 for review. So Councillor Hicks and Councillor actually asked the manager of corporate and community services for some clarification on some items. So I prefer if we laid on the table until next month. My opinion.
Well, what are the items so that we've got some idea, because we've come to the meeting expecting this was going to be right, you pick something up and haven't told us, so what we do with that.
Several items, so I want clarification on it. It was my fault because I left it quite late. It's not the manager's fault, not the director's fault.
Can I ask a question now, Madam Mayor?
I could, I suppose. There's lots.
Yeah,
Yes.
if it's okay, the list is quite extensive and it would require me to go through and look back at each transaction. So if, the councillors are agreeable, more than happy to go back with the CFO and look at each of the questions that the mayor has identified, and then we can ensure that we have a factual response. I'm happy to do that, at a time that's suitable for everybody here.
All right, well, I'll move, we leave this till when?
I think we talked about doing a workshop maybe after the customer service surveys that we're doing next Tuesday, to work through it, and then it'll come to the December meeting, if that's appealing to everyone.
I'll second it. So we do have a mover and a seconder already on the original motion, so you don't necessarily need to, if they're happy to.
Are you happy to
take that amendment because they.
Councillor Linda and Councillor Hicks, your
Yeah, well, look, if it's going to help the staff get it organised, that's fine, but it'd be good if you had issues with it to know someone and leave it to the meeting.
Right. Take that on board. Thank you very much. Any opposition to the amendment to the motion? No? All in favour? Carried. Policy development. There are quite a few.
I'll move those recommendations.
Councillor Hicks.
I'll second it. We've worked with Madam Mayor, we've worked through these policies at a workshop. There'd be no reason whatsoever to defer any of these. That should be just go straight through.
Any opposition?
Yes, the way it's actually come out in wording and just setting it so it's the format.
So the formatting of there's a draft document, and we'll double check the formatting before the policies are published.
Not mentioning policy on the page when.
Yeah, so that formatting is something that we will check and fix before the policy is published on the website.
Any other comment?
Yes, I'd just like to lay it until it's been reworked so that we can have an excellent policy that's clear to read and understand and ready to put on the website.
So I think that we could possibly pass the OH&S policy, because it's just a re-adoption of an existing policy. But the other two, you're suggesting that we lay them on.
But am I right in assuming that it was a standalone policy?
Yes, so the work health and safety policies for the organisation.
So do we not have a blanket policy? Or
so the
Well, just hang on 1 second. If we're going to be having a debate about this, we need to suspend standing orders to keep in with meeting procedure. Otherwise,
just for clarification, the work health and safety policy is an organisation-wide policy, and not only specifically for children's services. We have a motion at the moment.
We do have a motion at the moment, so we'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Yep.
So we've carried. Brilliant.
Environment and planning, item number 1.
Move the recommendation.
I'll second that.
Mayor. We've spent many months over the last couple of years discussing this matter, and it's got to be moved tonight. It can't be held up because it's ticked all the boxes. It's a subdivision in Walla that's met all the requirements, and now the planner, through gateway determination, has been able to move it on. So it's our duty to give it the tick.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn and Councillor Hicks. Any opposition?
I'd just like to make a comment. It's good to see that River and the Water are coming to the party and come up with a solution to the pressure problems.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. All those in favour? All in favour? Carried. Item number 2. Post recommended amend the local environmental plan zoning minimum lot size changes.
I'll move the recommendation.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks and Councillor O'Neill. Is there any opposition to the motion? No? All those in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Item number 3.
I'll move the recommendation.
I'll second that. Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Morton. Is there any opposition to the motion? No? Put it to the vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Delete it, carried. Delete it, carried.
Just have to give the minute.
Sorry.
No,
sorry.
she's fine. It's just that there's a number of conditions to this one, so she'll have to scroll through to get to them.
I know, I was doing the same thing.
Figure needs, we're still going. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, fine. Oh, hold on, serious, go back. Oh, hold on. I'm lost my words to the last list.
Yep, no.
We don't, yeah,
Up to 4.
you know.
So, Councillor Liston, I think this is your
Yes.
call.
This is
This
something
is
to.
the report that councillor has with the voting has left the room and declaring a non-pecuniary interest. And the time. So we'll get there.
Yes. So,
It's the pictures, yeah.
item number 4, page.
Yeah, I'll move the recommendation. 92.
Moved by Councillor Hicks, seconded by Councillor Lindner. Is there any opposition to? All those in favour? Carried.
Let's scroll now through that one.
Item number 5 on page 124.
No, you're right. That was it.
Right.
Yep, good to go.
Item number 5, development application for a large domestic shed.
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Need, seconded by Councillor Quinn. Is there any opposition to the recommendation? No? All those in favour? Carried. Item number 6 on page 134. Development application, 28 lot subdivision.
I'll move that recommendation.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Through you, Madam. Guys.
Sure. Can I just say Councillor Hicks has moved it, Councillor Lynn has seconded.
Thank you, Madam. Just to make councillors aware, I had added an additional paragraph in that first condition of consent that you wouldn't have seen because I only added it today. And the reason why I added that is that there's another adjacent block that I just wanted to make sure could get access to the roadway in the future. So it's similar to it's exactly the same scenario as the one really that the report was about, except this particular landowner hadn't raised it as a concern. But I did identify that we needed to provide sure that he wasn't landlocked. So I've then just included that third paragraph there that was just highlighted. Similar sort of wording to the paragraph up above, but it's just on the other side of the subdivision.
Yep.
And all it does is just dedicates a strip of land within that subdivision to become a dedicated roadway. So essentially, when the subdivision certificate is signed, that roadway will transfer to the council, and then we could let the neighbour actually construct a road on that if it came to it. So I just thought that was necessary, so I just added that clause.
The Councillor Hicks and Councillor Lynn is still happy with that recommendation?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Any opposition to the motion?
Yes, it is.
Just a question through you, Madam Mayor, to the Director of Planning. Where's the water going to go from subdivision?
Well, it'll go primarily to the east, I would say, into an existing water course there where we're still doing a flood impact assessment, and there is checks and balances that it can't proceed until we're happy with that flood impact assessment. But a lot of it will go down to the east. They will design it with retention basins and the like, so that the whole subdivision is designed with retention basins, so there should be no detriment to anybody downstream. That's what we're attempting to do through the conditions and the flood impact statement stormwater management study that we're doing.
There's two major concerns, Madam Mayor, I have right here and now. This is opposite almost the Ginger Industrial Estate, if I'm correct.
Oh, it's on it'd be on the end of it, on the town end of the industrial estates further to the south.
Well, there's lots of traffic problems there, so Mr. Engineer, wake up and take note. We don't want any more dramas. There's enough dramas about in life. These are comments, constructive comments, Madam Mayor, sort of thing. And the other thing is the watershed of this has got to go, I think, not sure how you do it, to the south of the industrial estate. If it goes back into Ginger, it's going to flood all the part through McKillop and all down there.
I might defer to my colleague, Mr. Lucky. So the stormwater management.
The stormwater, obviously, any subdivision's got a retardation on it to prevent having any additional flow greater than 1 in 100 year events through a ground. So whatever they build there can't have higher flows going in a 1 in 100 year event from the actual site. The water flow does run down the runner through there and McKillop and down, and but like I said, they cannot allow it to discharge at any greater volume than what a truck does at the moment. So they've got to put retardation basins into it, and that's part of the consent when the DA is on. This is purely going to be the last stage.
Yeah, but I'm forewarning you, Mr. Engineer, what's going to happen when we get the next big rainfall, which is probably after the next year's drought or whatever it is. Ports Hill will just flood right down, and you won't be able to control it. So the water will come off those hills and back to the west. And all down Malton Road will be a bit of a swimming pool for a while. Anyway.
Well, hopefully not.
But that's just not the answer. You've got to take precaution here.
The retardation, like I said, they have to do flood modelling by retardation to prevent those flows being any greater than what's there at the moment. That's the role. It's not like the old days when anyone could just build it. They've got to actually show how they control it. So they can't allow it to increase flows. That's what they've got to do. That's what they still have to do. Yes, sir.
And they model that on the computers for all rain events, and so they're actively, they're actually designing for significant rain events.
Are you satisfied, Councillor Quinn?
Not really at all, Madam Mayor. We're all paying heavily in insurance. Us people have got problems because of flood damage. And I know I'm a backward thinker, Madam Mayor, but this modelling, all this sort of stuff, modelling can show anything and make it look nice. But anyway, I'm just highlighting some of the problems. I'm all for the subdivision to go ahead, but somehow or other they've got to remove that water from going into Ginger.
It will be so. As best as humans can attempt to do that through modelling and design.
Finished? Yep. Okay, so we've got a motion, Councillor, to remove that motion. All in favour, or any other opposition? Sorry. All in favour. Thank you very much. All in favour. Moved. Number 7, page 179. Is development application for a caravan park demolition of an existing shed.
I'll move the motion.
So second.
Councillor Hicks, Councillor Quinn, is there any opposition?
Just briefly speak to that.
Certainly. Yes.
Just councillors should be aware, you may, that this one needs the concurrence of the Department of Planning, because there's some variations that they're seeking to the regulation that pertains to caravan parks, and if that concurrence is not granted, well, then they'll either have to amend their application or withdraw it. So council has passed it tonight, it's the process, and then it gets referred for concurrence.
Gets bumped up to a higher level.
Like that was to do with the amenities.
Yeah, there was a number of things there.
Size of the allotment for caravan parks too small to stay. So
Through Madam Mayor, I think it's very good this council ratepayer has taken a while to come on board, and I think the boxes have been ticked. So it'll be good in the business for Hong
Definitely.
and for the ratepayer.
And the existing caravan park is always full. So yeah, it's good to see that the business being proactive. Yeah. Any opposition? I've already asked that, I think. All in favour? All in favour? Declare to carry. Number 8, page 240.
move the recommendation.
I'll second that.
Councillor Hicks and Councillor Linda are beating everyone to the job tonight. Is there any opposition to the motion? No? All in favour? Declare to carry. Item number 9, development application for a waste resource management facility.
I'll move that recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Seconder.
Second, Madam Mayor.
Councillor O'Neill, sorry, Councillor Quinn. Any opposition to that motion? No? All in favour? All in favour? Carried. Governance? Sorry. Okay, all right.
Yep, good.
Good. Delegation of authority, item number 1.
Move the recommendation.
Councillor Hicks.
Second, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Quinn. Any comments?
I'd like to move an amendment to that this come to the December meeting, just with some questions to be answered about it. Seems to me we don't have a column that says to whom the designation, the delegation has been handed to. I think we need to know that. There's no other sort of dates or years in the legislation column. I think we need to know that. And somewhere in there probably needs to be a delegation to the mayor section.
So would you like to the word the amendment, please, Councillor?
Well, I don't think it's an amendment, it's just putting it and laying it over, holding it over. It's not an amendment as such.
Well, we'll just do
If you want
holiday,
technical.
yes. On the table deferred to December. To allow extra information to come in.
Well, I don't know if it's a mover and second to happen with that, I suppose.
That's exactly right.
I don't know whether I am. I think we should just press ahead. But anyway, speak to it.
As I said, I would like to see that we're told who the delegations go to, when the legislation, if the legislation is current, because apparently there have been changes to some of the legislation. So we had some listed as the year it was passed. And that there should be somewhere there that shows the delegation, where the delegations go to the mayor. Because there's an awful lot of delegations there.
So to you, Madam Mayor, so this report is one that we have regularly updated through Kilmore, and it's actually more complete than the reports we had from council in the past, because it actually lists all the individual legislation. But very happy to, normally the reports we had wouldn't, so this, the purpose of this report is to delegate to the general manager, and then the general manager makes the decision about how they're delegated further, and that's actually handed to ourselves there. But happy to have, so normally that wouldn't necessarily be, so the council's role is to delegate to myself, and then the process of how it's delegated from there is not normally something that needs to be discussed, but happy to bring back some more information at the next report. This is actually probably detailed far more than council has seen in the past about the delegations and how they're detailed.
I thought it was quite a detailed report, actually, when I read it compared to what happened passed,
So are we voting on the deferment or laying it on the table? Is that what we're voting on now?
We had a motion
The motion is to, I think the motion is to.
To adopt
Go
it.
ahead and adopt this.
But then there was an amendment to that, so.
As a second of the motion, speaking to the motion, it's standard practice. It's been happening for many years. And I'm not backing away from seconding the motion.
I'm Councillor Quinn, you can do so.
Speak to that as well. I went back and looked at the last, the minutes from the meeting from, January 2022, when the new council was last time. Yes, it was a more simplified document. The document that we presented, and thank you for your work, Evelyn, does not have where those delegations go. I'm very pleased to see a complicated document so that we can be aware and keep that up to date yearly. But some of the legislation, I could find a couple of them. I wonder about the fact that they may have been repealed. So I'd like to do some more work on it.
So the resolution, it's been moved by Councillor Hicks and Councillor Quinn. We'll vote on that, I guess. You know.
That's better we can do, I guess.
Yeah. So those in favour of the resolution of adopting this form, so Councillor Quinn, Councillor Hicks and Councillor Linda. Those against, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Liston, Councillor Morton, Councillor Hooper, and myself.
Sure. So
do we have to do another motion?
well, that one is lost, so I guess we would need to, because otherwise I have no direction at this point.
Yeah. So, Councillor O'Neill, would you?
To the December council meeting and bring this report back.
Do you want to include the comments that you made so that when we're reviewing the report, we make certain we haven't, we're not missing anything? So I think that was the delegations too. And the delegation, so the other officers and to the mayor, is that?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Sonia, no, not yet.
To the mayor and sub-delegations to officers.
Was there anything else that you wanted on that?
The date of the legislation.
I'd like to know that it's current.
I think if Kilmore did it, should be pretty current, but,
I could hope so, wouldn't you?
yeah.
I think, Madam Mayor, we've got to get it very clear what councillors want in the request so that we don't make other fools of ourselves. We've deferred a quarter of the paper already now.
Really.
And I'd say quite openly it's because councillors haven't done their homework in a lot of cases.
So we have a mover of that motion is Councillor O'Neill. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Morton? Are you right for us to vote? So those all in favour of that amendment, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Liston, Councillor Morton, Councillor Hooper and Councillor Parker. And those against, Councillor Linda, Hicks and Quinn. I declare that carried.
Yeah,
Just wait, just one.
Yeah. Are you happy? People listen, Morton. And against was the no, Hicks and one in the wrong spot. Park, just take Parker out of their hands and we'll be close enough to full tidy up.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, governance item number 2, delegation of authority for the general manager performance review. Can I have a mover and seconder?
Recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn. Councillor Linda. Any opposition to that recommendation? No? All those in favour? All in favour? I declare that carried. Engineering. Part 1, or number 1, licence. The part lot 1.
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks.
Second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn. Do we have any opposition to the motion? No? All those in favour? Let it carry. Item number 2 in engineering, licence lot 2 DP 864231 Colcan Common.
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll get a seconder.
Okay. Councillor Morton.
So just wanted to allude to the fact that in the original agenda, the dollar value on this particular one was incorrectly stated. The correct dollar value is the $1,800 that's before you. I think it was actually in there at 3,000.
There's a copy on the previous.
There was a copy of the previous one. So yeah, so just we made the change, but just so the councillors are aware that the recommendation before you was correct, but is different from the agenda that you received.
Question, how much was the offer?
It just looked like it's the top offer, but I prefer to agree.
$1,800.
That's all right.
Is there any opposition to the motion?
Just a comment, Madam Mayor, both those two offers are market value. Yep, the first one, Christian, it's right on market value. What the land's worth.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn. All in favour? All in favour, declare that carried. Item number 3 in engineering, licence for part lot 200 DP 125198.
I'll move that recommendation.
I'll second that.
Councillor Lindner and Councillor Morton. Do we have any opposition to that motion? No? All in favour? Let it carried. I'm up to 4. Yeah, I'm up to 4. Sorry. Number 4 in engineering, licence for part lot 5 DP 128181141. 14, sorry, Holbrook Wagga Road, Holbrook. Do we have a mover and seconder?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn. Thanks, Councillor Hicks. Any opposition to that motion? All in favour? All in favour, declare it carried. Number 5 in engineering, developer proposed road names to Gindra.
I'll move that recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks.
Second.
Councillor Hooper. Any opposition to that motion? No? All in favour?
Well, I'm just going to say, I think it's sensible to take the name out of that lot. It would be best to be left for Walla.
Definitely.
Yes, good idea. All in favour? Declared it carried. Number 6, tender for Dyke Street drainage and construction, stage 1. Page
Do the recommendation.
I'll second it.
moved by Councillor Hicks, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition to the motion?
Just a quick comment. It's good to see all those tenders. It's an indication that things are not as fluid as they were.
Very slowing down out there.
Big variation.
Always is.
A lot out of town is going through too, that's why they're large.
I agree, Councillor Quinn. It's nice to see so many options there. Any opposition to the motion? No? All those in favour? Declared it carried. Item number 7, tender for Swiss Street drainage and reconstruction, stages 1 and 2.
I'll move that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Morton and Councillor Hooper. Is there any opposition to that?
I do have a question. Neither the 100 or the 50,000 will affect the other 2 jobs.
No.
Satisfied, Councillor O'Neill? All those in favour? Councillor Morton, you're in favour? Yep, sorry. I declare that carried. Item number 8, allocation of projects to active transport program.
I propose we have a discussion about this.
Yes, would you like to suspend standing orders?
Maybe you probably should move the.
Sorry.
Motion.
So mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill.
So perhaps
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks.
just before we suspend standing orders, there was, if you look at the recommendation in your agenda, there was also a number omitted. So that number, in fact, there might have been 2 points there, is in front of you now. It's a slight variation from the agenda. Just to alert you to that. But I think if we suspend standing orders and then if there's any questions from Mr. Blackie, we can also do that. So
can we suspend standing orders? Can I have a mover and seconder to do that? Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Hooper. All in favour?
We have a new.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm in your hands.
So I just wanted to raise with everyone, as I'm sure a lot of the councillors are sharing a similar sentiment with this one, that we didn't have a great deal of time as councillors to prepare for this grant and understand the timeliness of grants, and that the requirements to have projects that are shovel ready or as close to with costings and things to apply for grants. Notice that these grants are heavily weighed in the direction of Ginger and Holbrook, which has been the discussion. And I'm just referring to Mr. Blackie, if there's any other projects that might be fit for purpose that are spread across Shire that you could think of that we could mark as an amendment to this motion.
No problem. Do you, Madam Mayor, the case that we've got here is, unfortunately, with the timeframe that the government gave to us, with 6 weeks' notice, made it quite difficult to put grant applications. They're due this Friday. You say Monday, Friday, we have to pick up. So we've got limited time to put applications together. So the process was, technically there are only 2 projects. What they are, they're variations that have been put in there. The reason for that, because of the expectation there's a $60 million fund out there, is, to try and pull $1 million or $2 million for Greater Hume out of a whole state, it's going to be challenging. There's no doubt. So also put application, we wanted to, and they are key projects, they've been nominated many times, and through our community consultation, and most recent community consultation done by all the communities, these are the only projects that have been recommended to be constructed by all our communities. So that's how they've been prioritised, as well as they've been nominated a number of times for other grant applications and things. So there already were, for a high up in expectation, there was work done on them in that regard. In relation to other works, there are no significant, developments or pre-planning done a lot of other works, because simply we're not at that stage. The major ones we've actually undertaken in Colcan, it's clearly the walking path here, the ceiling of it. Burrum, we've just led a quotation for the construction of Burrum walking path. In Henty, there was a major shed path done. So there are other projects in other towns that have got through. These 2 projects have been pushed by the communities and have been previously nominated by the councillors before for funding within budgets issues. So that is how they got nominated. Clearly, if we had 3 months' notice or something like that, we could develop up more. But the time frame does not allow us to put a reasonable development, an application in, an application. So with only really 2 projects, we can put the basis all behind them simply, and then just modify wording for the variations with them. There simply isn't the time to put other applications in, because I've had 2 of my staff working on it, plus there's our grants officer working on it. And to get all the requirements in, they're struggling to get it done by this period of time. It is a challenge. Like 6 weeks is crazy, unless you've got it all pre-prepared. So to add other projects in, I'm not saying there's not worthy projects out there, but clearly there's another active transport federal program that's coming up, which is due in middle of January, but we'll have to get that by Christmas, and it's 50%. So there's still an opportunity for funding it. But simply to put other projects in this that also don't clash with our own contribution policy for footpath contribution, because if we put any cars in that landowners have to contribute to, they would be actually caught up in this as well. So those 2 projects don't have those, because they're adjacent to Crown land or in the rural areas or the rural fringe of those towns. So they don't have contribution. So there are some complicating factors why it got down to these 2 projects. Time frame, previous council support and councillor support, and looking through all the applications that came on the community day they came in. They're the 2 that actually prioritise. The other towns have not prioritised their projects that meet this criteria. So that's how it was done. It had to be done in a rush. We were simply not enough time to prepare it. And there's no doubt there'll be opportunities later, in another year's time or other things that we will need to prepare and have more strategic plans for all our towns. So we're there with shovel ready rather than on the run. And in this case, this is what we've come up with.
And there's no guarantee that we'll get this.
Oh, God, no. Like, I don't want to put it in the public world, but if we are to get the two biggest projects, $2 million out of 60 million for the whole state, I think we're doing really well.
Is there a matching grant component?
No, not for this. This is 100% funded, this project. But these are the ones that meet the criteria of the project. It's not just about putting a path anywhere. It's got to be a contribution to active transport, which is walking and riding and trying to promote that. Linkages to school bus stops and create kids to walk rather than parents having to walk these kids. So it's not just simply a path in any location. These have got parts in them that meet all that criteria. Like going to the pool at Hull, there's not a sealed path going to our pool from our main street in Hull. It's sitting there. In Gindra, there's kids walking on the road at the moment and going to bus stops, and parents will drive, a kilometre down the road. So it's got to meet those criteria. So a judgment had to be called to the timeframes that was here. If we don't nominate these projects, well, we won't have a chance to nominate anything else. That's what I'm saying for this Friday. So a judgment had to be done, but it was based upon previous support by the council, previous support by councillors, and support by the communities in their most current community presentations they did. We're all in there. So that's how the judgment was done.
I appreciate the background there, Mr. Blackie. I would like to propose an amendment to this motion. I would like to propose that the motion remains with the addition that for the next round of funding, priority is given to other towns outside of Gindra and Holbrook for grant funding.
So happy
We're
with
still
that?
in standing.
Yeah, we
order.
have to suspend
Yes,
and we'd have to resume standing orders.
Is there any other commentary?
If I could speak through the Mayor, Mr. Blackie. I just, at the Culcairn Development Committee last night, they did ask about the funding and also mentioned where it's going to towns, not Culcairn, but one question was they've had a footpath from Balfour Street East to the high school at Billabong on the agenda for years. It probably needs doing to get the kids off the road, and in the winter it gets very wet. So they did ask, it obviously isn't costed up already, so something like that may be a project for the next one.
The Munro Street project was superseded by the project we've got in our current budget to construct the path in Federal Street and
Gordon?
Sorry?
Gordon?
No. It's from Highfield Close. It provides a linkage down to the pool. And in speaking to previous councillor who've done that, it's superseded because what we're doing is it allows them to walk on Highfield Close, then walk down Federal Street. We've got a linkage footpath that we're about to do with drainage works down there that provides fully sealed pathway on a very low used traffic road rather than constructing a footpath down Munro Street. So that will attract a number of landowner objections because of the contribution policy we have. So we've mitigated that by actually constructing this other path, and section is about 50 metres of pipework and drainage that will allow them to walk safely to the same location that path would be. Right, so we've allowed for that already in this program.
I actually did ask, I asked the GM to consider that because it's been a topic of conversation for quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I suppose there could be other projects too that
absolutely.
if we could get some warning and get when these grants, if they're annual grants, if we know they're coming up, we need to organise.
There's no doubt future strategic planning and pathways is required. We need to do that. There's no doubt we need to get shovel ready costed.
Yeah. Can I, as mover of the motion, so I'm happy to add the
We can, but we need to resume standing orders. We haven't resumed standing orders yet because actually council.
I'm a little bit surprised that the path from the Henty Main Street out to Footy Ground wasn't included, given that was a priority from the Fisher leadership course.
That wouldn't have come back to council, Councillor Lindner. How did that come back to council?
Well, I was under the impression that it was workshopped, and it did. Because I know it was a workshop and it was a priority.
Right.
From come out of the course, and that's how they were taught how to actually action things.
I was based upon the community presentations that were done, the most recent ones. And clearly that's what I looked at, just to confirm these programs were in there.
Yeah, because I just thought that particular project fitted the bill really well, because the idea was to get people on the go and moving from the main street to the sports ground where they can access sporting amenities.
Yeah, there's no residential on the eastern side of that route, so there's no conflict with
land.
So that could well be a good candidate for this next round of federal funding, because we have an opportunity with that to be able to have a little bit more time to workshop it before we bring it to a December meeting. So that would well be one of those projects that we can consider in that.
I think we should put that one in as a wild card with this one. If you stick to the regulations, you'll get hung by bloody regulations, and that's life. And you know, I clash with the planner all the time because he sticks with regulations, and sometimes he pulls regulations from somewhere that I don't know where he pulls them from. But you know, but he generally winds me up. But if you're going to conform all the time to what the bureaucracy wants, you're just going to get what they get. And there's only 60 million they're handing out, and somebody might just look at it and say, by golly, that sounds good, that Henty project, and give it a tick. Because they all have bad days, and you just got to hope they have a bad day and give us a bit of it. So I reckon you.
I guess moving forward, I think moving forward, as much as people might think that that the GM and I had a conversation before this recommendation came out, we didn't. In fact, I didn't even know about it until it came in the business paper. So, and as soon as I got it and read it on Monday evening, because I've been away, I did send an email asking if there was other projects within the towns that could be considered. So I think one of the lessons we've got with that is that we need to do strategic planning, and we need to have communication and be you know, au fait. But I understand that you know, Mr. Blackie has had a very tight time frame in order to put these projects together. So, you know,
just a question, like, obviously the one at Henty is only a short distance. So can we just like get on Google Earth, measure the distance, apply the formula of an approximation of what it's going to cost, and just put it in there just for the sake of putting it in?
The grant application requires you to complete a number of actually things in strategic planning and reporting, and where you've got justification for it. It's not just putting the cost estimate in. There is a lot more to it, and that's the problem. And that's why there's actually really only 2 projects there that we're using the basic parameters to build those 5 projects, but they're basically got, you know, two major parameters in linkages and things like that to those locations. There's a lot more to it, unfortunately. And yeah, if it was easy, just putting drawing up a line and putting it in would be great, but it's simply not. There's a lot more to it, unfortunately. But like I said, I think putting it up for the federal funding, I've got no problems, but we've got to start nominating, because as we've always found, you've got to get shovel ready for projects, and there's a lot of work involved to get shovel ready. Environmental issues and estimates, getting support letters, there's huge amounts. And problem with 10 towns and villages, they're all competing interests and things like that, and it's a challenge to have everything ready. And this one was thrown with 6 weeks' notice. And so it really we had to backtrack to where we had 2 projects that had been pushed by the communities, which clearly isn't their community presentations, and by councillors previously. And that's how they're
Can I just acknowledge also, Mr. Blackie, the work that your team's doing to get these ones up in such a short turnaround. And whilst it's disappointing that we can't spread it between the towns, it is acknowledged that the efforts you're going to get these in.
Is there any more comments
Well, there could be lots of comments. I really question the cost of both these projects. If you're going to, depends on where the whole book one goes to, sort of thing, but you've got a bridge over a creek or anything like that, you're in big problems if you don't know what the cost might be.
Well, if you have a look between item 4 and item 5, the difference between that is purely one bridge. There it is, only $300,000. So that, and the requirement also of the grant is that shared paths must be a minimum of 3 metres wide. Generally, even our paths, we've never built one greater than 2.5, but they will not accept a pathway less than 3 metres wide. So there you go, that added cost to the project. So we're bound by their restrictions and parameters of how they've got to be done. And to meet that criteria, that's why the costs have, gone to this stage. It is Ruth.
Mr. Lucky, through the mayor, they'd be asphalt surface.
Yeah, they're asphalt paths. The only bit that would be concrete in Holbrook is the bit along from Young Street to Pool. That would be concreted along there. The rest are all asphalt. But there's not a lot of difference between concrete and asphalt paths in that respect. So
Similar to the Waller.
yeah, similar to the Waller path, but like I said, unfortunately, these got to be minimum 3 metres wide. So the Waller path isn't 3 metres
A
wide.
bit of overkill, really.
But that's what they clearly have put in their grant condition, that's what they must be for a shared path, and that's a minimum. They're expecting other things because they think cyclists and pedestrians should be separated more. Well, yeah, that's okay where there's so many people. It's crazy, but there's no differences. Unfortunately, it's a challenge.
Any more comments? Happy to move back into resume standing orders. Seconder, mover and seconder, please. Councillor Hooper, Councillor Morton, all in favour? All in favour?
Can I say I'm happy to add solicitors.
I think it was Councillor.
Councillor.
Perhaps Councillor, if you could just repeat that now so Sonia can capture it. So
I'd like to have an amendment. The motion remains the same with the addition that priority will be given to alternate towns in the next round of funding.
So Councillor, are you happy with that?
Yes.
And Councillor Hicks?
Yep.
Is that okay?
So if everyone's happy, we don't have to put it
Sure.
we could just vote on it.
Okay, so
We'll get the other alternative.
yeah, all in favour? All in favour? Declare that carried with the amendment. Yep. One item.
The motion withdrawn.
So we've got an item in mind that we haven't.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
I've ticked the wrong one, sorry.
That's all right.
Item number 9, construction of shared path and car parking.
I'll move that recommendation.
Councillor Linda,
I'll second.
Councillor O'Neill. Is there any opposition to the motion?
Yeah, can I just ask that we suspend standing orders to discuss this one as well, please, Madam Mayor?
I'll second that.
So Councillor Linda and Councillor Hicks to suspend standing orders.
We'll just get a take that. So it's Councillor Lindner and Councillor Hicks.
All those in favour? Carried.
Everyone was in favour? Okay.
Now, can I speak to that, Madam Mayor? Now, I'm very confused. Last night I went to a forum meeting at Gindra, between the Gindra Forum and the Multi-Purpose Centre, and it was clear from the Gindra Community Forum that when the dog park first arrived that they knew nothing about it. They indicated that they were told that the dog park was coming before they even were aware that that was a priority from their community. And then last night they said, and now that the dog park has been taken away, their comments are, what sort of a show are we running? They said, no consultation prior, no consultation after, and it's making us look silly. And I'll give you an example. 4 weeks ago, I had some members of the Gindra community approach me, and that they informed me, I had no idea, but they informed me that the dog park was no longer going ahead and that the money was going to the new playground. Now my question is, how is this information getting out there? Like, they're informing me 4 weeks ago what we're discussing tonight. And I had to actually say to them at the meeting last night, I said that at this point in time, this was last night, the dog park is still going ahead because council has not voted for it to not go ahead. And as far as the funds being channelled somewhere else, the funds will still be going to that because council has not voted for it to go somewhere else. So there's way too much information getting out there, and it's making us look really, really silly. That they're blaming us for not knowing what's going on. They're blaming our management for not knowing what's going on. And I just want to know, how's this information leaking out into the public? Because I did ask the question and they did inform me where it is.
And so I would like to reply to you. I spoke to someone from the forum and know that none of that said in regards to the meeting last night. Yes,
I was present at the meeting.
Yes, I know.
So I know what was said.
But so was the person I talked to.
But yours is coming second hand.
Yeah.
What you're reading.
That person was at the meeting.
Let's just keep it.
Yes, let's keep it simple. As a result of that community meeting, it's shown pretty clearly that equal numbers were for and against, but lots were against having it there, like alternative site. So let's discuss it, maybe it's between the executive of the Red Reserve Committee and think that maybe it's because we were trying to get this work finished, which has been sitting there now for lots of months. It's multi-team road drainage and looking an absolute eyesore. That perhaps there might be a chance to transfer that money and look to the dog park in the future in an alternate site. So that's what hasn't been said. The council has not approved the dog park anymore, taken it off the books. It is to investigate whether that money can be transferred and then the dog park put that in an alternate site later on. And that dog park has been on the books for so long, which is why it finally got there, which a lot of the people who were actually at the forum weren't around when that was first put up as a project many years ago. So, yes, I don't think it's making anyone be embarrassed, or it shows that we do have flexibility, that people's opinions change, and as like you said, it has to go back out to community consultation. Means that more people have a chance to actually vote on whether they want the dog park or not. So, which would be a good thing, because it's like in the community forum, even given the meeting, given the numbers that were there, it's still not a high percentage of the whole population who own dogs. So this might make people.
Just to clarify, I was actually the person at the meeting who actually directed the meeting as to what could happen, provided we as council voted on it. But to me, that's not the issue. The issue is when people in the community are coming and saying, why have you pulled the money from the dog park and why is it going to the skate park? Why is this happening without even consulting us? That's my question. Like, that information should not be out there.
People get the agenda.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
right.
It was out there.
Yeah, but the agenda wasn't 4 weeks ago.
What's 4 weeks ago?
See, 4 weeks ago, I had people from 2 different organisations in Gindra come to me and they said, Jenny, they had direct conversation with you and you had instructed them that the dog park wasn't going ahead and the money from the dog park was going to go to the shade sale and the playground to finish it off.
No, I'm sorry, but I did not tell anyone that it was going. Looking into whether it could be transferred, not that it was definitely going, because that's not right.
That's not what different sources have reported to me.
The first time that I knew about the requesting to have a look at the dog park again was that letter that we received. Was it?
Oh, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's in the that's
right.
I knew anything about the changes.
They asked me at the meeting last night, well, how can you pull the dog park? You passed it, now you haven't. And I just said, there's been a number of objections, so we as council are forced to have to look at it again.
Yes.
So I explained the process.
Yes.
And it's like, they're okay with that, but that's not the issue. The issue is like information is getting out there and people are making assumptions and wrong assumptions and we're looking silly.
Only to say that following the feedback we have had about the Gingerbread Dog Park, and given that it is a Section 712 allocation at the moment, we will be reviewing, and we admittedly we only reviewed those relatively recently, but we will be reviewing those priorities also. I think we're trying to get that to the December workshop because it'll need to go through a consultation process, understanding some of them may have been completed, and now understanding that community priorities may well have changed from when they were originally allocated. So there is a process around that which we are going to bring back to council to ensure that, as best we can, the Section 712 table reflects the current priorities of the community. So that is something we're bringing back. And I think that was what was alluded to in this recommendation we had before us, that we carry out a review of the current projects, understanding that some of those priorities may have changed.
And I'm just sorry that I wasn't able to be at the meeting last night.
I guess in reflection of what we're doing, we need to be very mindful. Everyone needs to be very mindful about what they speak about outside, but also mindful that we need to be consulting our communities about what their wants are. So I would just leave it at that, maybe, and if anyone else has got
Can I just ask for a bit of clarity? I appreciate your comments. I'm just in regard to the dog park being suspended, was that general sentiment that the community was accepting of that?
Yeah, they were very happy to have it no longer happen, like very happy. But that their question was like, well, why is it happening without us knowing, and now it's getting pulled without us knowing? What's going on? So sort of what sort of a show are you running? That was the sentiment.
The question I asked is, if that was the forum, was it?
It was the forum and the multi-purpose hall joint meeting.
The forum provided a letter to us.
That's right.
Telling us that they did not wish the dog parks. That was the forum, coming from their president. So they've clearly articulated. So we assume they had their own discussion within their group.
Correct.
Before they made that correspondence to council. So this issue, like I said, this is up to council now. If we choose to go to 7.2 and we can choose to leave it as if build a dog park, that's fine. This only is putting an idea or proposal up, the way to fund the other part of it. But it will open up the 7.12 for other projects, because obviously there are some of the projects already being done in that. We can open up 7.12, which will allow probably a lot more across the board, other paths that probably won't meet grant criteria, but a 7.12, obviously we can utilise the funds, that we can use the funds on whatever we choose to use it for 7.12.
It's
with what community consultation?
It's really intended for community and social infrastructure, not like drainage and roads and things like that. Is not really its intent. But outside of that, for me, it's pretty broad. You could use it for a lot of things. That's the word. So it's community and social infrastructure, rather than like your hard council infrastructure.
So this was just for us to review it and prioritise other parts. That's purely that will have its own process if you agree to it. If not, we don't want to agree to change the 7.12. Well, the dog park sits as a priority and sits in our budget. If they choose to do it, they don't either way.
The community are very happy if the dog park doesn't happen and the playground and everything, footpath, everything's all finished off. So don't get me wrong there. That wasn't the issue of what my comment.
The issue is a few Chinese whistles getting around the traps. That's the issue.
I think that I said it last night because I was there. I think the dog park would go down this in the 7.12s rather than go away, and then that might give them a chance to look for another spot for it in town. And it could, because the 7.12 plan has got it's got the priorities, but it also lists the years that they're to be peeled out, and you've got low, medium and high. And so potentially it could go down to that medium high area and the project be put back 3 or 4 years. There could be some new land open up in Jira where they've got to dedicate some land to council, and in some of that there might be a better spot for the dog park to be where everybody finds it acceptable and the project still goes ahead.
The general feeling of the meeting was that they didn't want it.
Which is like I said, the first time I knew about that was that letter that came to all of us. So, you know, there are a few lessons learnt there perhaps, but everyone happy with the discussion, or would you like?
Quick comment on the dog parks. It was the flavour of the month about 12 months ago, and it was only driven by a handful of people in every area. But all of a sudden, people have realised that money's dried up, and a modern dog park's going to cost you 140,000 or a bit more, and they could have a bit of a footpath instead of that, or they could have something else. And this is, we talk about consultation. I've got to get away from talking to 5 people, because that's not consultation, that's having a local chat.
And a lot of people are very conscious of spending. Like everybody's tightening their belts, and it's like the ratepayers are really irate when they see waste or what they perceive as waste.
Any other commentary or comments? No? So can we have a move and seconded to move back in? Resume standing.
I'll second it.
Inga and Liston, Councillor Linden and Councillor Liston. So with all that conversation, overall, can I put the motion, please? All in favour? All in favour? I declare that carried.
Yes, so now we'll go, this is the item that shadows the closed council at the end of it.
Yes, I have to move it. We're going to close.
No, this is just to refer, so we can just do this in open council at the moment.
Oh, can
Yeah, and at the end we close the meeting.
I'll move that this go refer to closed council.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Councillor Quinn, all in favour? Councillor O'Neill, you're in favour? Going to close council, thank you. So we've got governance.
B,
C.
I'll move part B, C and D as a block.
Councillor Hicks, is there a second? Councillor Quinn? Is there any opposition to that motion? No? Put the vote?
Well, if anybody thinks about those.
No.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, I must ask, but any questions?
Yeah, sorry, just
Sorry.
I just had a
Oh,
bit
lucky.
the procedure of the dots, the traffic lights.
Yes, to the everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just interesting. Why is it some 90% things, which I would have thought would have a green dot, might only have a yellow dot, and some 10% things have a green dot and not a.
So,
how
so in general, a yellow dot means it's in progress, a green dot means it's completed. However, occasionally
10%.
Occasionally in the reporting process, where it's 10% if you don't do it in exactly the right order, the program likes to mark it as completed. So I would take your percentage progress and we'll check that. We do double check, but every time we change our progression, the system sometimes likes to think that's completed, and that's why you end up with green. So in general, red it means that it might not be started yet, or it needs a bit more work. Yellow is in progress and green is completed. So there may have been one that snuck through that is in progress that looks like it's been completed.
Any other comments, Councillor O'Neill? And was there someone else that had a question? Councillor Morton, did you have a question?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you'd seen your hand.
I'm sorry, yes. Promotion of VET in schools. That plan, is that?
Sorry.
Sorry, can speak.
Am I lost?
Sorry.
Or am I lost?
What did you say?
Which one is the delivery of plan, yeah?
We can, yes.
Page 1159 of that plan, promoting support VET, seek funding for, there's nothing in there that said we're seeking funding, and From what I've read in the papers, there's only currently one apprentice in the Shire. Is there going to be more progress on that, or is that just reporting of it at the Times?
Can I?
Through the Mayor to Louise.
Can you speak to it?
I can speak to some of it through the Mayor. My understanding is that we have had from time to time apprentices. A couple of years ago, there was a huge drive. We signed up so that we get all the incentives. A lot of the staff didn't want, because they're already existing staff that we were signing up, they didn't want to then complete the work, so they withdrew. So we have had a series of those events. We've been advertising for an apprentice mechanic. We've been advertising for positions. We haven't always filled them. I'm talking when I first joined the organisation, so probably 12 months ago, we had a really poor take-up of trying to find people. At the moment, we've got a trainee that's almost completed, which is a student at one of the local schools. Mayor, you may want to add some more to that. We've actually put in 2 applications for that program where it will be government funded, where they reimburse you for the new wages. So we've had 2 applications that will do that. We also run training through the childcare, through children's services. We run that all the time. So that definitely runs. So it's not a conscious decision not to have them. Sometimes it's a combination of items, but we would definitely had a conversation today, and we definitely recognise the need that it's really important that we continue to have a pipeline of where we're kind of transferring those skills and building the capabilities in our local communities. So definitely, and that should be part of our workforce development plan. When we go to do that in the coming months, that's really important for us as an organisation.
Would you like me to?
Yeah, you can add something to that.
So, Manager of Corporate and Community Services and myself met with both high schools today to open up lines of communication in regards to, possibly taking on some apprenticeships or some traineeships through the organisation, because we've got quite a few positions that are vacant at the moment. So that was received really positively. So hopefully we'll do something in the new year with both schools. And I thought it went really well. They were very responsive and happy to have those conversations. So, wanting to grow our own workforce, in other words, and have opportunities for our school leaders.
Your kids are an ideal candidate.
Correct. Yeah. Sorry, Councillor.
Sorry, that was just in relation to that, where our aims is to actively promote and support vocational education programs through local high schools. So, and saying that we have regular contact. So we have regular contact.
Yeah. Well, we had great conversations today. Very positive. Any other comments?
So we've moved all of those through.
I do have one.
Yes.
You've obliged. L3 leadership and advocacy in that document, page employee satisfaction survey. Could you tell me if that was somebody tell me if that was a 360 or was it just departmental staff employee satisfaction?
So we haven't done a 360. You wouldn't normally do a 360 of the organisation. So we've done a staff engagement survey.
And we councillors have copies of those.
Let's get into operational.
It is an operational.
To be the outside out again.
So
it was just mentioned in that document.
Yeah, so we are working with the outcomes of that with the organisation. Yeah.
And we've got the community satisfaction survey coming to a workshop next Tuesday. Is there any other comments?
No, I think we just need to make sure we just don't blur the lines from what we're here for. We don't need to get involved in operational matters. We just stick with our influence and finance.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Just merely asking a question as to where things are.
So put the motion. All those in favour? All in favour?
So now we will move
into.
Hold on, yep, close. Now you're right. Yep, so we're just scrolling through. So now we'll move into closed council.
Yeah. Can I have a movement second to move into closed council, please? Thank you, Councillor Quinn. Councillor Hooper.
You're right here. Oh, everything's gone to sleep.
All in favour?
very much, everybody.
All right,
Thank
see ya.
you.